So I stepped to my computer to edit this vlog and I somehow lost the intro to this video, so I'll just do it again in my office. I watched day one of the DNC, the Democrat National Committee, so that you don't have to. It was torturous, absolute torture. All right, now watch the video. So I watched day one of the DNC, and I've got to say it can be more accurately summarized not as the Democrat National Convention, but as the demonic National Convention. It was painful to watch. I'm going to show you some of the highlights today so you don't need to go watch the entire hours of mind-numbing and offensive, repulsive political rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I'm going to give you the highlights. I didn't see all of it, so there probably are some other highlights that didn't make this cut because I'm not going to show you everything. My goodness, so what I saw, it was disgusting. Just disgusting. But before we even get into the content of the DNC, or at least day one, understand that there was a rumor or there was a story going around that the DNC was offering free abortions and free vasectomies. And I hear this and I say, no, this is too absurd to be true. There's no way anybody anywhere is offering free abortions and free vasectomies as what? Something of a marketing campaign? Yeah, come to the DNC and while you're here, get an abortion. I was skeptical. I thought it was fake news, but my goodness, it's not fake news. It was real news. From CBS News, Planned Parenthood offers free abortions, vasectomies at mobile clinic near DNC. It's not the DNC that's offering it, it's Planned Parenthood at the DNC. Chicago CBS, Planned Parenthood offered some of its services for free on Monday and Tuesday in a mobile clinic near the United Center during the Democratic National Convention. The group provided free vasectomies, medication abortions, and emergency contraception by appointment at the mobile clinic parked just blocks from the DNC.
Demonic National Committee.
And I read this article and it confirms my wildest nightmares and cynicism as to the human condition. And I say to myself, who on earth is this going to work for? And lo and behold, it seems to work for, what's her name? Kellyanne Conway's kid. She took to Twitter to say, guess where I'm going? Claudia Conway at Claudia M. Conway with 2 Ys. Well, guess where I'm headed? And if you look at her profile, 19, protect reproductive rights and bodily autonomy for all. And you see her giving the middle finger here. And if you go look at that picture, it says something about abortion in the backdrop. So I assume she's giving the middle finger to the system. And because the internet is what it is and humor is what it is, you can predict what was the most popular reply to that comment, and it had something to do with the free abortions and free vasectomies. So you have this evening kickoff, and they have the who's who of Democrat scumbags. You got AOC, who gets a standing ovation for no apparent reason. I tell you something, I know this is how political events work. It doesn't matter what you say, you're going to get standing ovations. But my goodness, she says absolutely nothing. She just gets out there and does that little side-eye thing that you do on TikTok, and standing ovation, because that's the smartest thing she said all day.
Thank you, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, for your vision.
Then you get Hochul. I'm not actually sure if Hochul came before the mayor of Chicago, but we'll start with Hochul. You get Hochul out there, and she basically gets up before the entire world and confirms what we all already knew, what she has basically implied previously, that what went on in New York in terms of the persecution of Donald Trump was specific and was targeted deliberately at Donald Trump, obviously for the purposes of election interference.
It's no wonder he had a fleet of Mar-a-Lago. Sorry about that, Florida. Sorry about that. Trump hasn't spent much time in New York lately, except that is to get convicted of 34 felonies. And that's just fine with us, because New York's motto is Excelsior, ever upward. And Trump takes us ever downward.
It is truly astonishing that Hochul would say something like this out loud, thinking that she comes off as the hero. She is basically confirming that it was lawfare, targeted lawfare against Donald Trump for the purposes of interfering with an election. And she thinks, well, it's not going to happen to anybody else. So long as you're not Donald Trump, no worries. Come do business in New York. Nobody should do business in New York. Everybody should get the hell out of New York. Take your business, take your money, take your tax dollars, and get the hell out. I almost want to bypass New York State entirely when I drive from Florida to Montreal, but that adds a little bit too much to the drive. And what is it about these Democrat politicians? I tell you, between Hochul, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, and Gretchen Whitmer, I'm noticing something of a behavioral pattern among these people. They are awful, awful people, but they talk the same way, they move the same way. I bet you they have the same speech coaches, and they have the same speech writers, which is why they all end up sounding like the same variation of evil. Which brings us to the mayor of Chicago, who came out and spewed such rubbish, such utter nonsense. I had to let him know. I didn't realize he was following me on Twitter, and I posted a highlight from his idiotic, utterly stupid, I mean, there's no other word for it, it's stupid. I posted a highlight of his speech and had some choice words, which reads as follows.
Welcome to the greatest city in the world, Chicago. As the son of a family that worked to make ends meet, I know that Kamala Harris, the daughter of a mom who worked hard every single day, she is going to look out for the interest of everyday people. I know that as a fellow former social studies teacher, that Governor Tim Walz will never shrink from standing up for our democracy and for those most in need. And as a black man, raising a little black girl on the west side of Chicago, I know that my daughter Brayden will see not only a reflection of herself in the White House, but she will experience the deepest part of American values. Think about it.
Now, when it comes to the mayor of Chicago, I don't necessarily know if I think that he's evil or just stupid, and because I felt bad immediately because my tweet read a little harsher than I intended to write it in, I DM'd him because I didn't realize he was following me on Twitter, so I DM'd him after having followed him, and I clarified that when I called you stupid, I meant it lightheartedly, but how the hell can you come out and endorse Kamala Harris based on competence, achievements, a record in office, when she has an absolutely terrible record in office? All of her presidential promises, what she's going to solve on day one, are to problems that she caused over the last 3.5 years. How the hell can you come up with a straight face and endorse that nonsense? Then you have my personal favorite, and by my personal favorite, I actually mean the one that really turns my stomach the most, and it's not even Joe Biden and him spewing lie after lie after lie after lie after lie, because I did count at least 5 egregious lies. We'll get to that in a second. My personal favorite of the night, Jamie Ratskin Raskin, comes out. My goodness, you see what happens when these idiots lose the teleprompter? Because in order to be a good liar, you have to have a good memory, which means you have to be relatively smart. These idiots are not smart. They are damn liars through and through. And when the teleprompter goes out, they just don't know how to finish their speech of propaganda. And Jamie Ratskin, whoever wrote his speech, he had one hell of a zinger for Donald Trump. The only problem is the teleprompter seemed to have been on delay and he couldn't deliver the line properly.
Remember what the mob chanted as they stormed the Capitol and injured our officers? Hang Mike Pence. Someone should have told Donald Trump that the president's job under Article 2 of the Constitution Someone should have told Donald Trump that the president's job under Article 2 of the Constitution is to take care that the laws are faithfully executed, not that the vice president is executed.
And just appreciate, I call Jamie Ratskin because it rhymes with his last name, and he's a rat, and he's foreskin. I mean, I would call him foreskin as well. I loathe Jamie Raskin. And although it might not be nice to call people names, and I should be a better person and not call people names, sometimes you need to cuss the people that need cussing. This is the same Jamie Ratskin who promised civil war conditions if Donald Trump gets elected, because on January 6th, he's going to have to come out and tell the mob of angry Trump supporters that I've disqualified your candidate from the ballot, even though he just got elected. This guy promised civil war conditions. They would beef up their own security while they take an absolute hot steaming dump on democracy.
And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress, so it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody and civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have Not many cases to look at every year. Not that much work to do. A huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means.
Because the Russiagate hoax didn't work, because impeachment number 1 didn't work, because impeachment number 2 didn't work, because lawfare didn't work, because assassination didn't work. If he still gets elected, and it looks like he's going to, they're just going to disqualify him from the ballot. How the hell do you even talk about doing that and still hold a position in office? Jamie Ratskin Raskin. But enough about Jamie Ratskin Raskin, and I don't want to have an aneurysm in my home office. Let's get to the pièce de la résistance of the evening. Joe Biden, and what some people are humorously saying was the ultimate insult to injury, in that they made Joe Biden speak until 12:30. I think I was up until last night, knowing damn well that is 3 hours past his bedtime. Joe Biden gets up frothing at the mouth, deranged, unhinged, demented lunatics, sort of like a Hitler without the mustache. And I'm not saying that to use Hitler's name flippantly or make a joke. If you watch Joe Biden when he really gets unhinged without the audio on, my goodness, you literally hear what he's saying in German.
Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe, dass ich anständig...
But he gets up and he spews lie after lie after lie after lie after lie like it's just drinking milk or something. He doesn't have the slightest compunction to lying to the American people, lying about things that Snopes, the leftist most leaning of all the fact checkers, has confirmed false. He doesn't have a problem getting up there, lying to the American people for things that Snopes itself has confirmed are false hoaxes. Joe Biden got up and repeated the lie about the fine people on both sides lie. He got up and repeated the bloodbath hoax. He got up and repeated the abortion ban, the national abortion ban, if Trump gets into office. Lie, because Donald Trump has already said there will be no national abortion plan. It's going to be kicked back to the states as per the decision from the Supreme Court. But they lie because they rely on their voters being absolute ignorant. I'm going to be good and not call people names. Absolute ignorant dumbasses.
We know from his own chief of staff, the 4-star General John Kelly, that Trump, when in Europe, would not go to the grave sites in France. The brave service members who gave their lives to this country. He called them suckers and losers. Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is? There's no words for a person. They are not the words of a person not worthy of being commander-in-chief. Period. Not then, not now, and not ever. I mean that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Just as no commander-in-chief should ever bow down to a dictator, the way Trump bows down to Putin. I never have, and I promise you, Kamala Harris will never do it. Will never bow down.
And the amazing thing is they accuse Trump of lying. Every one of those idiots that gets on stage says Trump is just incapable of telling the truth. Whenever he opens his mouth, he lies like it's second nature. And they never once mention one concrete example of a definitive, non-disputable lie that Donald Trump has ever said. I appreciate you might disagree with some of Donald Trump's opinions. I agree that he might speak in generalities at times that lacks precision. But if you're going to come out and say that Donald Trump lies like it's his nature, give me your best freaking example of a Donald Trump lie. In fact, I invite the internet right now to do it in the comment section. Give me one and the best definitive lie that Donald Trump has come on stage and said. I will not hold my breath because I also do not want to die in this car doing this vlog. I'm telling you, you will not be able to come up with a definitive, concrete example of a lie, such as Joe Biden coming up and saying that Donald Trump called Nazis very fine people. The lie that Donald Trump promised a bloodbath if he doesn't get elected. The lie that Donald Trump will impose a nationwide abortion ban if he gets elected. And the other two that I cannot remember right now. It's confession through projection, through and through. They should call this the Democrat National Confession Through Projection, because they accuse Donald Trump of what is true of themselves through and through, right down to the whole cult of personality accusation against Donald Trump. How often have you heard lefties, the leftist MSM legacy fake news propaganda media, accuse Trump supporters of being in a cult? I appreciate there is some behavior on both sides that some might call cultish, because you wear signs, you wear pins, Republicans, etc., etc. The only difference is the media, the legacy fake news MSM left-leaning media, comes out and accuses Donald Trump's followers of being in a cult, when if you looked at what happened yesterday and you look at lefty demeanor in general, they are literally the definition of a cult. And it's not a question of saying, well, they're both in cults, yada, yada, yada. It's the left accusing the right of being in a cult, when what we witnessed yesterday was cultish through and through, right up to the mantras. We love you, Joe. We love you, Joe. That's the new mantra. Wait for people to start changing their profiles on the internet to put in, we love you, Joe, or whatever avatar they create to indicate, we love you, Joe. It's a mantra. It is repeating something over and over again, much like you do in cults. And they accuse Trump supporters of being in a cult of personality, that they worship Donald Trump, when they get up there and proudly post pictures of them wearing Joe Biden's aviator glasses. That is literally a cult of personality, worshiping an aspect of the identity of your beloved, we love you, Joe. Now get the hell out. Where's your rush? Here's your hat. And you got that disgusting hypocrite Kamala Harris shedding a tear for old Joe when he gets up there and gives a speech. Oh, they're all so sad to see him go. Meanwhile, he's got the knife in their back that they plunged in themselves. I would say that Kamala Harris is Brutus and Joe Biden Julius Caesar, except I don't think Brutus pretended to cry when stabbing Julius Caesar. Anyhow, that is it. That is a summary of day one of the DNC. I'll try to keep up with it, but my goodness, I do enjoy keeping my dinner down, and it was very hard last night, and I'm sitting there in bed until 12:30 at night, watching my wife sleep peacefully by my side while I am grinding my teeth with rage and despair. They are liars, they are scoundrels, they accuse their enemies of doing what they are doing themselves to create confusion. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, my goodness, he's either rolling over in his grave or he's green with envy, taking notes from the bowels of hell. To be continued, because this DNC thing goes on for a week. That's going to be a lot of free abortions and a lot of free vasectomies, but if you like what I do, you know what to do. Make sure that you are subscribed, that you have notifications turned on, that when I put out a video and you see that video come up, drop a comment, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down, and let me know why you don't like it. Share my stuff with someone who you think would like it, and share it with someone who you know would not like it, because they need to see it the most. More important than anything, exercise, eat healthy, sunlight, get outside, talk to people in real life, and now you know your vlog. Peace out, peeps. Booyah!
Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is?